start with holding our members accountable here on Capitol Hill. Now, this was posted on social media, and it reads like false statements that we've seen from Hamas and other groups who want to foment hate and death in the region. It reads like this: Israel just bombed the Baptist Hospital building, killing 500 Palestinians, doctors, children's patients, just like that. That was within an hour or two of the bombing, before we knew anything, before any of us could have possibly had a secured briefing, before we'd gotten an assessment from the President of the United States or any of our intelligence sources here, before we could go down to the skiff and actually understand the details, that statement was made. Now, you'd think that'd come from a member of Hamas, but it came from a member of our Congress. If that member of Congress wants to take responsibility for the protests that we now see in Beirut, good on you. In Jordan, in Oman, and in Egypt, this sort of leadership or failure of leadership has no place on Capitol Hill. Finding out now from additional intelligence sources is that it does appear as though this was not an Israeli strike, that it was probably a failed missile launch from Hamas. We'll let the facts lead where they. But we cannot let this go. We cannot let this evil go unchecked. And we have to stand by Israel, and we have to make sure that we do everything we can to educate the American people on the facts and disabuse them of any notion that this congressional member or anyone else has any place in communicating that misinformation to the American people and across the world.
GOP lawmakers have moved to censure Rep. Rashida Tlaib for anti-Semitic comments and speech. Others have condemned her spread of misinformation and false narratives. In a post to X, she claimed that the Israeli airstrikes had resulted in the bombing of a hospital in Gaza that killed hundreds of Palestinians. These claims were made before any investigation or credible intelligence was gathered. Her allegations most certainly added to tensions in the area. She repeated her inflammatory remarks the following day during a speech to a crowd of protesters in the Capitol. This led to a protest gathering inside the rotunda of a congressional office building. While the protests were nonviolent, it led to the arrests of around 300 protesters for failing to comply with the Capitol Police when asked to leave. The devastating explosion at the Gaza Hospital was eventually discovered to be an Islamic Jihad or Hamas rocket fired from within Gaza that appeared to misfire, resulting in an explosion in the hospital parking lot or courtyard. Others believe the Gazan rocket was neutralized by Israel's Iron Dome, which caused the rocket's payload to hit the hospital parking lot. Al Jazeera's live stream footage was analyzed by Bird's Eye View, seemed to support this. The victims of this explosion were most likely gathered near the hospital looking for aid supplies and medical attention. Coming up in the video is more footage compiled from Forbes, CBS News, and Bird's Eye View. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for any likes, comments, and subscriptions.
The majority of Americans are literally against oppression. They're against occupation, they're against human rights violations. If you just tell them the truth, they will be on our side. So we have to speak the truth. We gotta stop allowing people to police our words, to target what we say. It's just continue to watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital with children. You know what's so hard sometimes is watching those videos and the people telling the kids don't cry. I'm like, let them cry. And they're shaking, and some of you know this, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic. They can cry, I can cry, we all can cry. If we're not crying, something is wrong. And so I'm telling you right now, President Biden, not all America's with you on this one. And you need to wake up and understand that. We are literally watching people commit genocide and killing a vast majority just like this. And we still stand by and say nothing. We will remember this. But all of you, you need to know, I swear to God, Allah, you are on the right side of history. You
We are following breaking news. Capitol police officers say roughly 300 people have just been arrested during these demonstrations at the U.S. Capitol. This footage coming into CBS News moments ago. And it's important for viewers to know, Nicole, as you've spelled out, that this demonstration was initially outside on the National Mall, going up Independence Avenue. It seems to have now ended there where, as you mentioned, the footage we're seeing from the Cannon House building. It appears, just from looking at some of the images online, that even members of Congress, some liberal members of Congress, addressed this crowd earlier in saying that they are on the right side of history. It does speak to the kind of emotional climate around the war between Hamas and Israel and how it's spilling over here in the U.S. in the Capitol. But it's not unusual at the same time to also see various groups with various interests protesting peacefully in Washington, D.C. And we should be clear that as far as early reports from Capitol Police, they're reporting a number of arrests. There are no reports of violence or unrest. And from the footage that we're watching, there appear to be police or security officials kind of standing by and around this group, allowing them to continue their demonstration.
On the 17th of October 2023, hundreds of Palestinians were killed when the Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza was bombed. Officials in Gaza blame the blast on an Israeli airstrike. The Israeli army denies responsibility and claims the attack was due to a failed rocket launch by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The team was able to identify 4 Israeli airstrikes on Gaza, targeting the area near the hospital, starting at 1854-28, then 1855-03, then 1857-42, and then 1858-04. That's military time for just before 7 p.m. local. The team cross-referenced this video with another, captured by a camera situated south of Tel Aviv, showing a wide view of the Gaza Strip. That video shows a series of rocket launches from Gaza. That video clearly shows how the Iron Dome intercepted these rockets. Going back to the Al Jazeera live feed at 1859-35, we can see a single rocket launched from Gaza. This is the rocket in question. This rocket can also be seen on the Israeli video. 15 seconds later, Al Jazeera's live feed shows that the same rocket was intercepted at exactly 18:59:50. This interception has the same afterglow seen in previous interceptions. A closer look at the video captured by the Al Jazeera live feed shows the rocket being completely destroyed and broken apart in the sky. According to all feeds and videos analysed, this rocket was intercepted and was the last one launched from Gaza before the bombing of the hospital. 5 seconds after that interception, an explosion in Gaza can be seen, followed 2 seconds later by a much larger explosion. This is the strike that hit Al-Ahli Arab Hospital.